Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let's chant one round of Japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let's recite Bhagavad Gita Sloka. So we have to begin with a new verse today. Last week we learned chapter 12, text 1. Arjuna Vacha Evam Satata Yuktaye Bhaktasvam Pariyupasate. Then what is the next line?
ये चाप्यक्षरम् अव्यक्तम् तेषां को योगवित्तमाः।
Tesham ke yoga vittamaha. Yes, very good.
What's the translation? Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect? Those who are always uh, engaged or properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? So the next one, I forgot to check what's the next memorization verse. 1 second. So who's supposed to read today for, the Bhagavatam verse? Anyone remembers? I think we finished one full round, I think, isn't it? So we'll start with Inbainya then again. Okay, so we finished 12.1. Next is 12.2, then 12.5, 6, 7. Chapter 12 is very important. It's devotional service, so quite a few memorization verses. So next one is 12.2. We'll do it from the book, from Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so everyone please repeat. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Mayyavesh mano ye mam Nityayukta upasate Shraddhaya parayopetas Te me yuktatama mataha Sri Bhagavanuvacha Mayyavesh mano ye mam Nityayukta upasate Shraddhaya parayopetas Te me yuktatama mataha Sri Bhagavanuvacha Mayyavesh mano ye mam Nityayukta upasate Shraddhaya parayopetas Te me yuktatama mataha. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. So what kind of devotee is this? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith. So this must be a pure devotee, Ananya Bhakta. Yes. Yeah. So those who are, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Just so that you'll be able to see the whole verse together, let me set it up. So meanwhile, those who want to go first can raise your hands. Usha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all praise to Srila Prabhupada, all praise to the simple devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. 1 second. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Need the translation also. Yes. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Maya Vesha Manoye Mam, Nitya Yukta Upasate, Shraddhaya Parayopetas, Te me Yukta Tamamataha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be the most perfect. Meda also can go, Mataji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Bhagavanuvacha Maya Visya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopeta
Parayopetas.
Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. Translation. Mataha. Translation. The Supreme Personality of God had said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshiping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be the most perfect."
Hare Krishna. Aditi Lata Mataji and Arunita.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Vashyasi Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Paripaitas Te Me Yukta Tamamata. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect."
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Vishya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect." Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll just go in order now. Is Achinta Dev Prabhu going to read now or in the end? Maybe later. Okay, so yeah. Inba, Inya, Jai Sri Mataji and Jai Ganesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Bhagavan Maya Vesya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect."
Inya,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Bhagavanuvacha Mayaveshya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect."
Yeah. Jai Sri Mataji.
Mataji, they both will recite last.
Last. Okay. Isha, Krishna Shish, Madhava Rasapriya.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Vesha Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be the most perfect."
To be most perfect. Okay. Krishna Shish.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Vesya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamataha.
Mataha.
The Supreme Personality of God has said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect."
Madhava.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Visya Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered are considered by me to be most perfect.
Rasapriya.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Veshamano Yamam Nityayukta Bhasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Teme Yukta Tamamata. The Supreme Personality of God is that those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered to be the most perfect.
Considered by me to be most perfect. Okay. So next, Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Vesha Mano Ye Mam Nityayukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Mukta Sangha Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Are you there, Prabhuji? Okay. I don't know. So next after M, N. I thought I saw, yeah, Suvarnangi Mataji. Narsimha Leela Chaitan Prabhu, Suvarnangi Mataji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandas Pranam, Sarveshwar Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Vesha Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Mataji, others are not here, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Neelambari Radha Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Text 2.
I'll read the text 2. I recite?
Yes.
Okay. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Vesha Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upashate Shraddhaya Parayopetash Te Me Yukta Tamamata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Hare Krishna Mataji, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Dhanavad Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So, I don't see Priyanka Haripriya Mataji. Saujanya Mataji and Pragnya. I thought I saw Pragnya. Okay, I think they're not here. So,
I'm there, Mataji.
you're there. Okay. I don't see.
She joined, she just left because she just left.
Okay. But I still don't see your name. I don't know.
My name?
Yeah. Oh, you're joined as Mukta Sangha Prabhu. Acha.
Oh, because for satsang, I had recorded the Zoom session for him. He was in India. Oh, so I logged into
That's
that.
why I was thinking, I see Mukta Sangha Prabhu and I was surprised. Okay, go ahead, Mataji. So that's okay.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam Nityayukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. So Achin, I think Prabhuji did or no, he didn't. Achintadev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat, Prabhuji. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Mayyaveshya Manoye Mam
Maya Vesha Manoya Vamam
Nitya Yukta Upasate
Nitya Yukta Upasate
Shraddhaya Parayopetas
Shraddhaya Para Yopetas
Te Me Yukta Tamamatah.
Teme Yukta Tama Mataha. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect." Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vindhyavali Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances are glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Finally, we meet in the meeting.
I know. I thought that I will start today with you, but I'm late.
No problem. Go ahead, Mataji. Text 2.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, I have to do the sloka. Okay, I'm sorry. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Me Avishyamano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta
Mayyaveshya. Mayyaveshya Manoye Mam.
Maya Veshya Manoye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect."
Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes. Inba, Mataji and Prabhuji are there.
No, Mataji.
Okay, so we'll start Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Yes, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9. We started the next chapter, the descendants of Kusha. Who's Kusha? Lord Ramchandra's son. So let me quickly go over what we read. It's basically just names of all the descendants coming from Lord Ramchandra through Kusha. So this chapter is entitled The Dynasty of Kusha, the son of Lord Ramchandra. So we read all different, right. Finally, we came to Maru. Okay, after all the names coming down from Kusha, we came to Maru, and Maru is still living today. Where is he living? In Kalapa Grama. And at the end of Kali Yuga, he is the one who will revive the lost Surya dynasty. Okay. Then we read from Maru was born a son named Prasushruta. So of course he had sons, or is he going to have? 1 second. Was born. So this is certainly history. So Maru had sons also. It's not that he didn't have any sons and he'll have sons at the end of Kali Yuga. It's not like that. Maru had sons. But unlike the other kings who in due course of time gave up their bodies, but Maru is still living even to this day. And he will live even at the end of Kali Yuga, and he will revive the Surya dynasty by begetting a son at that time. So now Maru had a son, Prasushruta, and from Prasushruta Sandhi was born. From Sandhi, Amarshana. From Amarshana, Mahaswan. From Mahaswan, Vishwabahu. From Vishwabahu, Prasenajit. From Prasenajit, Takshaka. And from Takshaka, Brihadbala, who was killed in a fight by your father. Whose father? Parikshit Maharaj's father. That means Abhimanyu. So Takshaka's son, Brihadbala, was killed by Abhimanyu. So here actually I'm not sure, is it the same Takshaka or not. So the other day when we were discussing, because in Mahabharata we see Takshaka, see 2 times we come across Takshaka's son. First time we see that during that battle, what is that, with not Khandavrasta. What is that forest? Mayadanava is there, and yeah, that is Khandava forest only. Yeah. So Krishna was the chariot driver, and Arjun was fighting, and this Takshaka was actually was a friend of Indra's, and Takshaka was living in this forest called Khandava, and Agni was suffering from indigestion because some king performed too many yagyas, and in those yagyas so much ghee is offered. By eating all that ghee, his Agni's stomach became upset. So for him to get cured of that stomach disorder, he had to eat the herbs that are in this forest, Khandava forest. But he wanted to go and eat, but if Agni ate the forest, all the animals in that forest will also get burned. And in that forest was Takshaka living with his wife and son. So Indra would not allow Agni to burn this Khandava. Burning means Agni is eating, but he would not allow Agni to burn the forest. Why? Because Indra's friend Takshaka was living there. So whenever Agni would try to burn the forest, Indra would send rains, and then Agni would not be able to eat those herbs. So he was still suffering. So then Agni approached Krishna and Arjun one day. So Krishna was visiting Arjun in Indraprastha, the Pandavas. So one day Krishna and Arjun were just spending time, walking, and they went to Khandava forest, and they were sitting there, and Agni came in the form of an old man, an old Brahmana, asking for some charity. So then they asked, "Who are you?" And then, he revealed that he was actually Agni, and his purpose, how he wanted to eat the herbs from the forest, and how Indra was not allowing. So if Arjun could, enable Agni to burn the forest and protect him from Indra's rain. So they agreed, provided they got those weapons. So Indra said, "No problem, I will give you the weapons." So he called Varuna, and he gave the Sudarshan Chakra to Krishna, Gandiva to Arjun, and also one chariot, and with quivers of arrows, whatever they needed, everything was supplied. And then Agni started burning the forest, and Indra started pouring rain. And then Arjun, with his arrows, created a net on top of this Khandava forest. So, however heavy rain was falling, not one drop would come down onto the forest, and Agni was able to burn. So then there was a fight between Indra with all his, armies, and here Arjun and Krishna. And of course, ultimately, Indra he was very pleased with his son, by the way. He was defeated, but he was very pleased. Meanwhile, what happened in that fight was Takshaka was not there at that time, but his wife and his son were there. So when the forest was burning, Arjun would not allow any animals to escape. If anyone tried to escape the forest, he would just shoot them and let them get burned in the forest. So this Takshaka's wife and Takshaka's son, they were trying to escape. So Arjun was able to, capture or kill Takshaka's wife. She got burnt in the fire, but Takshaka's son escaped. And now he wanted to take revenge on Arjun. This is one instance in Mahabharata where we read about Takshaka's son. Later on, his name is Ashwasena. Ashwasena. Later on, in the battle of Kurukshetra, again we see that when Arjun was fighting with Karna. This was one day before the final battle between Arjun and Karna, when Karna was actually killed. So the day before that, when there was a fight between Karna and Arjun, Karna released one arrow, but actually that Ashwasena himself took the form of an arrow. And he literally jumped out of the quiver. He came into the quiver, and when Karna reached out for an arrow from the quiver, even before Karna could actually train the arrow, it was as if the arrow, which was now Ashwasena, the son of Takshaka, jumped out and just put himself on the arrow, on the bow, and he wanted to take revenge on Arjun. So that's, of course, Arjun was protected, because seeing what was happening, Krishna had stepped on the chariot. So the chariot went down exactly when the arrow hit Arjun. So it hit Arjun's diadem, his crown, that fell off. But Arjun was saved. So this Ashwasena was mad. So then he went back again to Karna and he spoke actually. He said, this time you shoot me again and I'm going to kill Arjun. However, however determined Karna was and however much he desired to kill Arjun, still he didn't want to do it in an unfair way. This was a fight between Karna and Arjun. Why would he besides his vow was he would not use the same arrow 2 times. So he already released and it failed. He was not going to use it again. So he said, I don't need your help. I will fight on my own. So he didn't take Ashwasena's help. So that's the second time when we hear about Ashwasena. So here, apparently, when we read about Takshaka, it may not be the same, but I cannot say for sure.
How do you remember those names, Mataji? It's a gift for you, I think.
Yeah, Krishna's
it's a gift. It's a gift. Remembering all those names, It's really a gift. Thanks, heads up to you.
So, yes, Mataji. Oh, yeah. So we saw about Takshaka here, right? From Vishwabahu came a son named Prasenajit. From Prasenajit came Takshaka, and from Takshaka came Brihadbala. So this Brihadbala, it could be another name of Ashwasena. It's possible, right? Many times we see they have more than one name, or maybe it's a different person. I'm not sure. Okay. But in the descendants of Lord Ramchandra, there is this Takshaka and Brihadbala, who was killed in a fight by your father. By the way, but you see, they're all Kshatriyas. Takshaka was a serpent, right? Is it possible? Yeah. Maybe it's not the same. What do you say, Krishnashish? Takshaka was a serpent. So, Takshaka was a serpent. And here we see Takshaka is a descendant of Lord Ramchandra. It cannot be the same person, right? Yeah. Because Takshaka is a serpent and Lord Ramchandra's descendants are all Kshatriya kings. Not sure. Yeah, so it is possible, but we don't know for sure. So when I find out, I'll let you know. Okay. Meanwhile, we'll continue reading. We are reading about Lord Ramchandra's descendants coming through Kusha dynasty. So this son of Takshaka was killed by Abhimanyu. Son of Takshaka was killed by Abhimanyu. Next. Ete Hikshvaku. Sorry. Just we have read all this yesterday. So in this way, all these kings in the dynasty of Ikshvaku have passed away. So far, whatever names I have taken coming in the descent in the dynasty of Kusha, they're all dead and gone. Now please listen as I describe the kings who will be born in the future. From Brihadbala, Brihadrana was born. Then from Brihadrana, Urukriya. And from Urukriya, Vatsavriddha. From Vatsavriddha, Prativyoma. From Prativyoma, Bhanu. And from Bhanu, Divaka were born. So Divaka was a great commander of soldiers. So this is all future now. They will come. It's not like they are born. They are going to come. These are all future kings. Future from where? From the time of the conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami. For them it is future. For us it's past already. Okay. This is Sukadev Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj and he's saying in future they will be born. From Divaka, Sahadev, and from Sahadev, Brihadashva, from Brihadashva, Bhanuman, from Bhanuman, Pratikashva, and from Pratikashva, Supratika will be born. Then, thereafter from Supratika, Marudeva, and from Marudeva, Sunakshatra, from Sunakshatra, Pushkara, from Pushkara, Antariksha, and from Antariksha, Sutapa. And from Sutapa, Amitrajit will be born. From Amitrajit, Brihadraja. From Brihadraja, Barhi. From Barhi, Kritanjaya. From Kritanjaya, Rananjaya. From Rananjaya, Sanjaya. Again, not the same Sanjaya. So they will be born. This is all future. It's not they are born. This is all in future. So, and the conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami happened well after the war of the battle of Kurukshetra. The Pandavas had already retired and they had all, gone back. So, but Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadev Goswami is saying these will be the future kings that will come. From Sanjaya, Shakya, from Shakya, Shuddhoda, from Shuddhoda, Langala, from Langala, again another Prasenajit, and from Prasenajit, Shudraka will be born. Then from Kshudraka, Ranaka, from Ranaka, Suratha, from Suratha, Sumitra, ending the dynasty. So Sumitra is the last. This is the description of the dynasty of Brihadbala. Who is Brihadbala? The son of Takshaka. So this is the dynasty coming down from Brihadbala. The last is, the end of the dynasty is with Sumitra. Okay. So this is what we read yesterday. Now we will...
This is the dynasty of who? Mother?
Actually, Kusha, Lava Kusha. So this is Kusha's dynasty. So within that, we came up to Brihadbala. Up to Brihadbala, it was all past, all the kings who had taken birth and who had passed away. From Brihadbala onwards, the future kings that will come. So far, whatever has been discussed after Takshaka's son Brihadbala, they will all be the future kings coming in the dynasty of Brihadbala.
Okay.
So now let's begin today's session. Ikshvakunam ayam vamsaha sumitranto bhavishyati yatastam prapya rajanam samstham prapsyati vaikalau. Just imagine, hardly what I said is hardly anything. Sukadev Goswami is giving so many names and he's just, it's not like he prepared for it or anything. On the spot, whatever question Parikshit Maharaj is asking, Sukadev Goswami is just giving so many names, the dynasties, their sons, how many sons, their names, their
that
wives.
Is what? Treta Yuga or Dwapara Yuga?
It does not matter. They are transcendental. So whichever yuga.
But that to Kali Yuga, we can imagine, Mataji.
Well, this is Kali Yuga only, by the way.
That's what I'm
Sukadeva
saying.
Goswami Parikshit Maharaj.
Oh, yeah. They are in Kali Yuga. I'm sorry. But in the beginning, it's
Yeah.
slowly going on. Going up.
But pure devotees are beyond the control of the yugas and all that. They are not controlled by the qualities of Kali Yuga. They are not touched.
That's true. That's true. But I wish we'll have that feeling, remembering.
So yeah, Inba, you can start. So I read, right? I'll read again. Ikshvakunam ayam vamsaha sumitranto bhavishyati yatastam prapya rajanam samstam prapsyati vaikalau. Yes, Inba.
The last king in the dynasty of Ikshvaku will be Sumitra. After Sumitra, there will be no more sons in the dynasty of the sun god, and thus the dynasty will end.
Thus end. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 12th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Dynasty of Kusha, the son of Lord Ramchandra. So we started off with this Surya Vamsa. Surya Vamsa means coming down from Vaivasvata Manu. And Vaivasvata Manu means he's the son of Vivasvan, right? That's why Vaivasvata. Vaivasvata Manu. So his descendants, we saw he had 10 sons. Before that, he had one son as a woman, Sudyumna, right? And then after that again, after that again, he did tapasya and he had 10 sons. And then we saw the descendants of 9 sons. Finally, the first son of those 10, the first Ikshvaku, the eldest, we started reading about the descendants coming from Ikshvaku. And in that line, we saw many great kings like Harishchandra, Raja Harishchandra, King Mandhata, and then, of course, coming to Lord Ramchandra, and then, then descendants after Lord Ramchandra. So this Sun dynasty ended with Sumitra. After that, there were no kings. Not ended, it will end, because these are the future kings. What Sukadeva Goswami said, these kings will come in the future and the dynasty will end with Sumitra. But one point was said that, what was that king's name? Maru, right? He will start the Sun dynasty again at the end of Kali Yuga by giving birth to a son, because he's still living in a village called Kalapagrama. So now we'll go to the next chapter. Chapter 13, the dynasty of Maharaj Nimi. This chapter,
Kalapagama, Mataji?
That detail is not given, Mataji. Where it is, I'm not sure.
We can
It's
go
just
and
said. Well, I don't know. Even if they're there, you may not be able to see.
That's true. That is God's thing.
And also the names, they have changed all the names. So today, if you look on the map, you may not find Kalapagrama, because, like Mumbai had become Bombay and now again it became Mumbai.
Not only that, the
Bhagyanagar
places
became
are also
Hyderabad. Yeah. So the names are changed. On the map also they're changed. So you may not find, if you looked at the regular, you'll have to do some research to find the place.
People are going to moon, they should research this one. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. So the dynasty of Maharaj Nimi, chapter 13. This chapter describes the dynasty in which the great and learned scholar Janaka was born. This is the dynasty of Maharaj Nimi, who is said to have been the son of Ikshvaku. So we saw Ikshvaku Maharaj also had many sons. We were only reading about the descendants coming from one son, I think Vikukshi. We were looking, let me just go back quickly. So now we are going to start chapter 13. Mandata. Saubhari Muni. I think even no, these are all not Ikshvaku Maharaj. Sorry.
Mataji, you said that Bharadbala is serpent's son?
In serpent, no, Takshaka's son. I am
That's-
saying I'm not exactly sure if this Takshaka is the same that we read.
Ah, okay.
Dynasties of the sons of Manu. Okay. So these are the 9 sons. Then finally we come to Ikshvaku. Yeah, so that will be the next chapter then. So this whole chapter is about Chavana Muni and Sukani. Okay, so we didn't start with Ikshvaku Maharaj's descendants yet. Okay, not here also. Maybe this one. See, the son of Manu was Ikshvaku. Okay, so Ikshvaku, he had 10 sons. Manu had 10 sons. Ikshvaku was the eldest, but we didn't talk about Ikshvaku first. We talked about the remaining 9. Now Ikshvaku had 100 sons. So far, whatever lineage that we read, the dynasty, it was coming down from Vikukshi. Of these 100, Vikukshi, Nimi and Dandaka were the eldest. Okay? Ikshvaku had 100 sons, of whom Vikukshi, Nimi and Dandaka were the eldest. And so we read about the dynasty of Vikukshi. And in that, Lord Ramchandra appeared, Harishchandra, Raja Harishchandra appeared, like that. Now, Vikukshi's dynasty ended with Sumitra. That was the last in the Sun dynasty, coming through Vikukshi. Now, Ikshvaku's another son, Nimi. We are going to read about Nimi's dynasty. Okay? Just remember these 3 names. Ikshvaku's like prominent sons, Vikukshi, Nimi and Dandaka. So now we are going to begin chapter 13, the dynasty of Maharaj Nimi. When Maharaj Nimi, so this chapter describes the dynasty in which the great and learned scholar Janaka was born. This is the dynasty of Maharaj Nimi, who is said to have been the son of Ikshvaku. When Maharaj Nimi began performing great sacrifices, he appointed Vasishta to be chief priest. But Vasishta refused, for he had already agreed to be priest in performing a yagya for Lord Indra. Vasishta therefore requested Maharaj Nimi to wait until Lord Indra's sacrifice was finished. But Maharaj Nimi did not wait. He thought, life is very short, so there is no need to wait. He therefore appointed another priest to perform the yagya. Vasishta was very angry at King Nimi and cursed him, saying, "May your body fall down." Cursed in that way, Maharaj Nimi also became very angry and retaliated by saying, "May your body also fall down." As a result of this cursing and counter cursing, both of them died. Who? Vasishta Muni and Maharaj Nimi, both died. After this incident, Vasishta took birth again, begotten by Mitra and Varuna. who were agitated by Urvashi. The priests who were engaged in the sacrifice for King Nimi preserved Nimi's body in fragrant chemicals. When the sacrifice was over, the priests prayed for Nimi's life to all the demigods who had come to the arena of Yagya. But Maharaj Nimi refused to take birth again in a material body because he considered the material body obnoxious. The great sages then churned Nimi's body, and as a result of this churning, Janaka was born. The son of Janaka was Udavasu, and the son of Udavasu was Nandivardhana. The son of Nandivardhana was Suketu, and his descendants continued as follows: Devarata, Brihadratha, Mahavirya, Sudhriti, Drishtaketu, Haryashva, Maru, Pratipaka, Kritaratha, Devamidha, Vishruta, Mahadhriti, Kritirata, Maharoma, Swarnaroma, Hraswaroma, and Shiradhvaja. All these sons appeared in the dynasty one after another. From Shiradhvaja, Mother Sita Devi was born. Shiradhvaja's son was Kushadhvaja. So they are all Janakas. Okay. We know that Sita Devi's father's name is Janaka. But their whole dynasty, everyone is Janaka. They'll have like a last name, right? Like this Janaka. Like for example, the son of Janaka was Udavasu. So probably Udavasu Janaka. Like Mataji.
But Mataji, Janaka means father,
Also, yes, Janaka means father. Also.
So that is why it came, or what? Janaka means
that
father.
I'm not sure. That I'm not sure. But it started with King Nimi becoming Janaka, and then that whole dynasty, they're all Janakas, like that. So Shiradhvaja, from Shiradhvaja, Mother Sita Devi was born. Sita Devi's son was Kushadhvaja, Kusha, Lava Kusha. So Sita Devi's son was Kushadhvaja. And the son of Kushadhvaja was Dharmadhvaja. The sons of Dharmadhvaja were Kritadhvaja and Mitadhvaja. The son of Kritadhvaja was Keshidhvaja, and the son of Mitadhvaja was Khandikya. Keshidhvaja was a self-realized soul, and his son was Bhanuman, whose descendants were as follows: Shatadyumna, Shuchi, Sanadvaja, Urjaketu, Aja, Purujit, Arishtanemi, Shrutayu, Suparshvaka, Chitraratha, Kshemadhi, Samaratha, Satyaratha, Upaguru, Upagupta, Vasvananta, Yuyudha, Subhashana, Shruta, Jaya, Vijaya, Rita, Shunaka, Ritahavya, Dhriti, Bahulashva, Kriti, and Mahavashi. All of these sons were great self-controlled personalities. This completes the list of the entire dynasty. Which dynasty? The dynasty of King Nimi. But yeah, let's just keep reading and some questions will be answered. So text 1. So who read? Only Inba read, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji.
Sri Shuka Uvacha Nimir Ikshvakutanayo Vasishtam Avritartwijam Arabhya Satram Sopyaha Shakrena Pragvritosmi Bho.
Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, after beginning sacrifices, Maharaj Nimi, the son of Ikshvaku, requested the great sage Vasishta to take the post of a chief priest. At that time, Vasishta replied, My dear Maharaj Nimi, I have already accepted the same post in a sacrifice begun by Lord Indra.
So Lord Indra's sacrifice already started and I am heading it as the head priest. So while I'm doing that, I won't be able to do yours, right? So I already started. Tam nirvartyagamishami tavan mam pratipalaya tushnim asid grihapatihi sopindrasya karonmakham. Mataji, Prabhuji are there?
No,
Imba?
Mataji.
No. Isha?
I shall return here after finishing the yagya for Indra. Kindly wait for me until then. Maharaj Nimi remained silent And Vasishtha began to perform the sacrifice for Lord Indra.
So first of all, Nimi asked, he started the sacrifice and then he requested Vashishta Muni to become the chief priest. Vashishta Muni said, oh, I already started. Indra started one yagya and I am the head priest for that. So please wait until I finish that, then I will become the head priest for your yagya. So when Vashishta said that, Nimi didn't say anything. He was just silent. So then निमिश्चलम् इदं विद्वान् सत्रम् आरभतात्मवान् ऋत्विग्भिरपरैस्तावन् नागमद्यावता गुरुः कृष्णाशीष
Maharaj Nimi, being a self-realized soul, considered that this life is flickering. Therefore, instead of waiting long for Vasishta, he began performing the sacrifice with other priests.
Madhava, purport.
Chanakya Pandit says,
Shariram kshana vidvamsi kalpantasthayi gunaah.
the duration of one's life in the material world may end at any moment. But if within this life one does something worthy, that qualification is depicted in history eternally. Here is a great personality, Maharaj Nimi, who knew this fact. In the human form of life, one should perform activities in such a way that at the end he goes back home, back to God. This is self-realization.
So, Nimi thought, if I wait for Vashishta Muni, we don't know when that yagya with Lord Indra is going to be finished. And meanwhile, if I die, because life is uncertain, we can die at any moment. So the time that I have, let me just perform yagya with some other priest. So Srila Prabhupada is quoting Chanakya Pandit that of course this material life, right, in any body, it does not matter. It is temporary. It is temporary and you don't know when it will be finished. But still there is one advantage. Even though this life is so short and it's also uncertain for how long you will be, but within that time, if you do such activities, you have an opportunity to do such activities which will give you eternal fame even after you leave this body. Like the great personalities about whom we are reading in Srimad Bhagavatam. 5,000 years later, still we are remembering, we are talking about them. They did such wonderful activities that even 5,000 years later, still we are reading about them. And many, many years after us also, they will be reading. So, an intelligent person will use his time in this human form of life. This is called making the best of a bad bargain. What's the bad bargain? You have to die, and you don't know when you will die. But what is the good thing? What is the best use of this bad bargain? Within this life, you can do something wonderful which can give you eternal fame. But even better than it, who is the most famous person? Ramananda Rai was asked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the most famous person? A devotee of Krishna is the most famous person. To be known as a devotee of Krishna is it's the highest title. It's the most famous position. So, in this life, if one is intelligent, he will shoot for, like Srila Prabhupada says, right? If you are hunting, then hunt for a rhinoceros, right? Why? Because a rhinoceros is very difficult, right? Nobody is able to capture. But if somebody captures a rhinoceros, he'll become so famous. And if he fails in catching a rhinoceros, people will say, of course, what do you expect? It's not easy to capture a rhinoceros. So it's not a, if you fail, no problem. But if you win, you get such a big glory. So always, shoot for the big thing. So what is the biggest thing? The biggest thing is to be a devotee of the Supreme Lord. So aspire for that and endeavor for that, right? So even though this life is temporary, even though this life is very short and uncertain, within this, if you render devotional service, if you are able to achieve the perfection of bhakti, even if you just start, even if you didn't achieve the perfection, neha vikrama nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. There, swalpamapyasya dharmasya, dharma is translated as bhakti, pure devotional service, by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So even if you do, like even if you just start, there's no loss. You will continue from there. So that if a person is intelligent, he should not waste this time. Oh, anyway, this life I have wasted so much, so I'll try in my next life. Sometimes some devotees talk like that, right? Oh, this life is wasted. I will. No. In one moment, you can turn things around. Srila Prabhupada says that, right? You can become Krishna conscious in 1 second. 1 moment is sufficient to become Krishna conscious. But the thing is, you need to get that type of faith. Then you can get that type of faith even in 1 moment. So if one is intelligent, he will try to get the position of a devotee of Krishna in this human form of life. So Prabhupada is saying this Maharaj Nimi was very intelligent. So when Vashishta Muni was not able to come immediately, he thought, instead of waiting for Vashishta Muni to come and losing my time, let me just go ahead with yagya with some other priests. That was his decision. Okay. So next, Rasapriya. शिष्यव्यतिक्रमं वीक्ष्य तं निवर्त्यागतो गुरुः अशपत् पतताद् देहो निमे पंडितमानिनः.
After completing the sacrificial performance for King Indra, the spiritual master Vasishtha returned and found that his disciple Maharaj Devi had disobeyed his instructions. Thus, Vasishtha cursed him, saying, "May the material body of Devi, who considers himself learned, immediately fall."
So Maharaj Nimi was a very learned king. So meanwhile, while Nimi started his yagya with other priests, Vashishta Muni completed his sacrificial performance for King Indra. And he returned to King Nimi only to find out that Nimi disobeyed his instruction. What was Vashishta Muni's instruction? Just wait until I come back and then I will head this yagya. I'll be the head priest. Just wait for me. But he found out that Maharaj Nimi disobeyed him by going ahead with the yagya anyway, even without Vashishta Muni. So he became angry and cursed Nimi that may your material body of this king, Nimi's body, may it fall. That means may you die. Why? Because you're so puffed up. You think you're so learned and you disobey. So therefore, you should die. निमिः प्रतिददौ शापं गुरवे धर्मवर्तिने तवापि पतताद्देहो लोभात् धर्मम् अजानतः. So, okay, we'll just take 2 more. Sonia Mataji.
For unnecessarily cursing him when he had committed no offense, Maharaja Nimi countercursed his spiritual master. For the sake of getting contributions from the King of Heaven, he said, "You have lost your religious intelligence, therefore I pronounce this curse, your body also will fall."
So what did King Nimi do when Vashishta Muni cursed Nimi to die? May your body fall. Then Nimi said, I didn't commit any offense. All I did was I just did a sacrifice because there was no certainty of when you would return. I didn't want to lose time, so I just went ahead with the sacrifice. I didn't commit any offense. Still, you cursed me. And why you cursed me? When I asked you to be the head priest, you chose to go and do Indra's yagya. Why? Because Indra is the king of heaven and he can give you big contributions, dakshina. So, wanting to get the dakshina from King Indra, you lost your religious intelligence. So, because of this, because you lost your religious intelligence, and from this we understand he's saying you became greedy, right? For the dakshina to be given by King Indra, you became greedy. So This is not a Brahmana's business, right? So you lost your religious principle, you lost your religious intelligence. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to curse you also. May you also die. May your body also fall. Okay. Next is Usha Mataji, right? I think so. Usha Mataji and Medha, are you there? Driving, maybe? Okay, we'll go to the next person.
Mataji, sorry, driving.
No problem.
And Medha went to school.
Yeah. So, Suvarnangi Mataji, Suvarnangi Shama Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Spurti.
The religious principle for a Brahmin is that he should not be greedy at all. In this case, however, for the sake of more
lucrative remunerations
from the King of Heaven, Vashishta neglected Maharaj Nimi's request on his planet, and when Nimi performed the sacrifice with other priests, Vashishta unnecessarily cursed him. When one is infected by
contaminated
activities, his power, material or spiritual, reduces. Although Vashishta was the spiritual master of Maharaj Nimi, because of his greed, he became fallen.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So, Vashishta Muni is not an ordinary person, right? A great Brahmana, one of the Saptarishis also. But still, that's the power of material nature. Sometimes also, to teach a lesson to everyone else, to tell us about the power of the material energy. Even such great personalities are put into illusion. But we see that Vashishta Muni became, from the purport I'm telling you, it appears from the purport that Vashishta Muni actually became greedy for the remunerations to be given by Indra. So when a Brahmana becomes greedy, then he becomes contaminated. He becomes infected by contaminated activities. That is why, Brahmanas have this power, Brahma Tejas, right? Why they are considered the leaders in the society? Leaders means, of course, the leaders are Kshatriyas, but spiritual leaders, right? Those who give guidance in spiritual life, that's the Brahmanas. But again, Brahmanas have to maintain that position of a Brahmana by their activities, by their consciousness, by their practices. Simply by taking birth from a Brahmana family, even after getting training as a Brahmana, if you don't practice what you have been given, right, whatever training you've received, then you will fall a victim. You'll fall a victim, right? As it is said, padam padam yad vipadam na tesham. There is danger at every step. Simply losing life is not the only danger. Losing your dharma is a danger. It's a bigger danger, actually, isn't it? So Vashishta Muni was a guru, a priest, but he, because of, Vashishta neglected Maharaj Nimi's request on this planet. Maharaj Nimi wanted Vashishta Muni to become the priest. He neglected Nimi's request. Why? Because he wanted to go to Indra. Because Indra as a demigod could give greater donations. So because of this contamination, he lost his material spiritual powers. When you become greedy, you lose your powers. Although he was a spiritual master of Nimi, because of his greed, he became fallen. That's the lesson. Okay. So tomorrow we will begin with the remaining family members of Narasimha Chaitanya Prabhu. So Spurti read today Tomorrow, Surud, Mataji, and Prabhuji can read. Okay. I was thinking everyone will get a chance to read today because they're all small verses, but somehow. Well, we read some, but yeah. Okay. So maybe I can quickly read Bhagavad Gita and Lilamrita. We are reading from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is introduction. We'll just continue. I'll just read. We work not with our body actually, but with our mind and intelligence. So if the intelligence and the mind are always engaged in the thought of the Supreme Lord, then naturally the senses are also engaged in his service. So there's a nice verse for this in Bhagavad Gita itself. Basically, what we are reading here is what all we are going to see in Bhagavad Gita. So whatever is there in Bhagavad Gita, that is only being said here in the introduction. What will you find in Bhagavad Gita, right? So here it is said, yes, although you do act. So why we are saying this? How to go to that spiritual sky, to that spiritual kingdom? That was the question. That is said in Bhagavad Gita. And what is the method given to go to that spiritual sky? The method given is your mind, right, must be transferred from the material world to the spiritual world. Your absorption in material topics and material things, right, that should be changed to spiritual topics. Okay. So then why is it like that? We are doing activities with our bodies, right? But actually the activities of the body are controlled by the mind, and mind is controlled by intelligence. You know, there's a verse in the 3rd chapter that what is that verse? The senses are superior to the dull matter, and the mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind, and the soul is even higher than the intelligence. So this is the hierarchy. So if you can control your mind, then your work, your activities done with your senses can be controlled because the mind is superior. That's what is being said here. I'll just continue reading. So we work not with our body actually, but with our mind and intelligence. So if the intelligence and the mind are always engaged in the thought of the Supreme Lord, then naturally the senses are also engaged in his service. Superficially, at least the activities of the senses remain the same, but the consciousness is changed, right? So if you are a software engineer before becoming Krishna conscious or before chanting Hare Krishna, coming in the association of devotees before taking initiation, and now after taking initiation you are still working, right? And you are still shopping and you are still cooking, but there is a change of consciousness. There's a change of consciousness. That's the point. So superficially, at least the activities of the senses remain the same. You're still doing all those activities, but the consciousness is changed. Earlier, or at least it is supposed to be changed. Earlier, we were doing all these activities with the goal of sense gratification. I want to enjoy, personal or extended, right? I should enjoy and my people should enjoy. But when you become Krishna conscious, now the mood will be, or it should be, I am working in order to serve Krishna. In order to serve Krishna, I am doing all these things. So the activities may still remain the same, but the consciousness has changed. The Bhagavad Gita teaches one how to absorb the mind and intelligence in the thought of the Lord. Such absorption will enable one to transfer himself to the kingdom of the Lord. If the mind is engaged in Krishna's service, then the senses are automatically engaged in his service. Why? Because the mind is superior, right? If you control the higher powers, then lower also come along. So the senses are automatically engaged in his service. This is the art, and this is also the secret of Bhagavad Gita. Total absorption in the thought of Krishna. That is our goal actually, right? Yes, the senses will be engaged, but if the mind is engaged, then the senses are automatically engaged. If the mind is engaged, senses will automatically follow. So I was supposed to bookmark this. I don't know what I'm doing. 1 second. Here. Okay. I'll stop Bhagavad Gita reading here and let me read Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita also. Horns, bus horns in India. Okay. Leelamrita. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita, continuation. We are in March 18. He wrote again to Sir Padampat Singhania requesting him to send a man from India to supervise work on the temple in New York, as Mr. Singhania had previously suggested. There is no record of any reply to this request. Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter, but no reply was sent. Remember, Padampat Singhania was going to give a donation to build a temple in New York, but then he said, please, I have some challenges here in sending the donation. One thing is, I need the donation to be released by the Indian government. They should allow me to donate it to in a foreign country. So you can arrange for that. And then other things were, he said the temple should have a dome. It should look like a proper Indian temple. If you're going to just take an apartment or something and turn it into a temple, I'm not interested. Besides, and because the temple has to be built in a proper way, in order to build like that, you will need lots of money. What I'm going to donate, that won't be sufficient, like that. So he was trying to kind of back out. So then, but Prabhupada didn't give up on that. So again, he wrote to him and he's saying, please send someone to supervise the work on the temple. But there was no reply. Prabhupada wrote again to Sumati Morarji, requesting her to please send him a mridanga to accompany his chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. He also requested her that in the future, when he would send many men from India, she obliged by giving them free passage on Scindia steamship lines. So Prabhupada is saying, in future more Indians will come to America for preaching. So you should arrange for them also to go on your ship. No reply from Sumati Morarji either for the Mridanga or for giving free passage. As his financial situation became more urgent and his hopes were strained, his support from India withdrew in silence. Because they saw Srila Prabhupada didn't have enough financial, his financial situation was not so good. So they kind of became silent. His unanswered correspondence was itself a kind of message, loud and clear. We cannot help you. Although no one encouraged him, Srila Prabhupada trusted in the order of his spiritual master and the will of Krishna. The word from the Prime Minister regarding government sanction had been a definite no. Remember, Indira Gandhi had become the Prime Minister and Prabhupada had written, and the Secretary of the Prime Minister said, we appreciate what you're doing, but we are not able to help. But he had received another extension of his visa. Now his last hope was Sir Padampat Singhania. Prabhupada knew that he was so influential a man in India that if he wanted, he could send the money. Prabhupada said he could even send the whatever money is required, millions of dollars, to build the temple the way he wanted. He had that much. Prabhupada knew that he was so influential a man in India that if he wanted, he could send the money. He was Prabhupada's final hope. So we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you all so much for waiting. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I'll see you tomorrow. You all have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.